The shocking truth about Moses' body, why it has never been found. Discover the dark secret now. In the heart of the sun-baked desert, there lies a mystery so profound, it shakes the very foundation of belief. Why has the final resting place of Moses, the revered prophet, evaporated into thin air? Unraveling this enigma sends chills down the spine. Historians and archaeologists alike can't help but ponder, was there really a divine hand in hiding his body? Or has something more sinister occurred? Whispers of ancient curses and shadowy figures loom large. Imagine, if you will, the parched landscape where sand dunes rise like the waves of an unfathomable ocean. The air is electric with tension as locals share their spine-tingling tales. Some claim to have witnessed ghostly apparitions, flickering lights that swirl around the mountain where Moses was said to have met his end. Others speak of a hidden tomb, one cloaked in a veil of deep shadows, where the very walls seem to breathe the secrets of the ages. Each recounting fills the listener with unease, a tightening chest, a lump forming in their throats, wondering if something dark lies beneath the surface. As night descends, a thick silence blankets the land. But it's broken by the sound of rustling leaves, creating a sense of urgency. What unseen forces might be stirring as adventurers plan to unearth this long-buried truth? Are they prepared for the storm ahead? Every step, every heartbeat echoes in the empty vastness. The danger is palpable. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the mysteries pull tighter, the tension builds. Faces pale with dread as tales of blinding light and terrors from beyond echo in their minds. What lurks in that tomb? As they gather their courage to delve deeper, a sudden quake, a sign from the heavens. The ground beneath their feet trembles, and the air thickens. Suddenly, a piercing scream pierces the night, sending ripples of fear through the hearts of the strongest. Is this the moment when all will be revealed, or is this just the beginning of a horror yet to unfold? The chilling question lingers: what secrets does the desert truly hold? The ground shook violently, tossing people to the sand. Heart rates soared with adrenaline, panic sending whispers of fear through the group. What was that? A breathless voice cried out, struggling to pull themselves up. In the distance, shadows flickered like wraiths against the darkened sky. The legends came crashing back into their minds. Each tale was laced with warnings of an ancient power protecting something that should never be disturbed. The air felt heavy, thick with unease, as if the very earth itself was alive and watching, waiting. "Everyone, stay together!" shouted Lucas, the de facto leader. But even his voice trembled with unease. They had come seeking answers, but now they were on the brink of madness. Through the swirling dust, a glowing light appeared, small at first, but it grew, illuminating the night in a haunting hue. Gasps filled the air, blending with the rustle of wind that felt almost like whispers. "Do you see that?" Mariah's voice broke through the silence, her eyes fixed on the brightness. As they moved forward, the light beckoned them. Against all instincts, they stepped closer, drawn by an inexplicable force. The tremors softened under their feet, morphing into a dull thrum that echoed with each heartbeat. A chasm opened up ahead, exposing the dark mouth of a cave. The glow flickered as if alive, challenging their resolve. "This is where it ends," Lucas murmured, a mix of terror and fascination casting shadows across his face. "Or begins within moments." A swirling mist enveloped them, the sensation freezing the air as they stumbled into the cave. The light flickered, revealing ancient hieroglyphics etched into the walls, warnings of the tomb's power and the curse that followed those who dared disturb it. The weight of history crashed over them, suffocating and awe-inspiring. "Do you think is this where Moses was buried?" Mariah's voice was barely above a whisper, fear crawling down her spine. The legend of his body disappearing felt more real by the minute, interwoven with the whispers promising doom. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the mist, cloaked in shadows but unmistakably unmistakable. It was not human, its eyes gleamed like stars, piercing through the darkness, a silent guardian of the secrets within. The air crackled, sizzling with an energy that begged them to flee, yet rooted them in place. "Who dares enter?" the figure demanded, a voice thunderous and ethereal. With fear pounding in their chests, they exchanged wide-eyed glances. What had they summoned? Were they ready to confront the wrath of an ancient force? Every passing second felt like an eternity, the very essence of the cave swirling with an urgent anticipation. Just as breath caught in their throats, a sound echoed, a chant, ancient and melodic, reverberating off the walls. The ground shook once more violently this time, as if the cave itself was awakening. As lights danced chaotically around them, the looming figure pointed into the depths, whispering words that sent chills through their souls. "The truth shall be unearthed, but at what cost?" Even as they stood frozen in fear, one thing became clear: the search for Moses' body would unveil horrors beyond their worst nightmares. What lay ahead would change them forever, or seal their fate in the sands of time. But one question lingered in the air, demanding an answer: had they come for the truth, or had they awakened something far more dangerous? The moment hung in the air, thick with terror and anticipation. Lucas felt a chill crawl up his spine as the figure's voice echoed through the cave, a haunting resonance that made every hair on the back of his neck stand up. "The truth shall be unearthed, but at what cost?" Mariah clutched Lucas's arm, her nails digging into his skin. "We can't stay here. We need to leave," but her voice trembled, betraying her fear. Before Lucas could respond, the ambient glow intensified, bathing their surroundings in a brilliant light that felt more like a warning than an invitation. Shadows shifted, swirling in a choreography of chaos, as the figure took a step forward. He could see now that it wore a crown of dark mist, its features indistinct but intimidating. A guardian, Lucas realized, no longer able to suppress the fear blooming within him. "It's protecting something." The chant grew stronger, 1,000 voices layered over one another, creating a cacophony that unsettled the very foundation of their existence. "We need to go. Now!" he yelled, but the words felt swallowed by the mist swirling around them, thick and suffocating. Suddenly, the cave trembled violently, shaking their resolve. Mariah stumbled back, and Lucas lunged to catch her, feeling the earth pull them deeper into darkness. "Stay close!" he shouted, his voice competing with nature's roar now overpowering all thought. As they pressed forward, the walls of the cave pulsed like a living thing, every syllable of the strange chant reverberating off the stones. The hieroglyphics seemed to glow, revealing images of wicked pharaohs and ancient creatures, warning them of the dangers that lay within. Each carved face appeared to watch them, eyes filled with ancient wisdom and untold horrors. "Do you see that?" Mariah pointed, her voice shaky but urgent, to a shimmering surface ahead, an underground pool glistening like liquid crystal. "It's beautiful. Don't get closer," Lucas warned, fighting the urge to rush toward it. But the voice inside his head faded away as curiosity wrestled with fear. The pool reflected the flickering lights, creating specters that danced toward them, wrapping them in a false sense of safety. "The answers lie within," the guardian spoke again, its voice now a seductive whisper. "Uncover the depths of knowledge, and your purpose will be revealed." The words hung in the air, pulling at each of them. What truth could the pool hold? What secrets might it unleash? Lucas met Mariah's gaze, an unspoken question passing between them. As if sensing their hesitation, the guardian raised its hand, revealing a golden object resting in its palm. "The heart of the tomb," it intoned, the chillness of its words echoing through the chamber. "Place it within the waters, and all shall be known." Mariah's eyes widened. "We have to." "No. We can't trust it," Lucas protested, wrestling with the urge to run. But as he tightened his grip on Mariah's arm, doubt slithered into his mind. Was this a chance to uncover what they sought? Or a trap meant to ensnare their souls? With each moment stretching painfully, the ground continued to rumble beneath them. The guardian stepped back into the mist, its form merging into shadows, leaving only the golden object and the haunting mapping of their fate. Lucas Mariah breathed, her voice barely a whisper, as the water shimmered invitingly. What if this is the answer we've been seeking? The choice loomed before them, a fork in the road where their fates hung in the balance. Would they seize the truth at a cost too great to bear? Or would they turn back and abandon the venture that had already taken them so far? Before he could respond, the cave shuddered again, and the echoing chant rose to a fevered pitch. Lucas swallowed hard, his heart racing as he looked into the depths of the mysterious water. But then, just behind them, came a guttural snarling, a sound so raw it sent shockwaves of dread coursing through his veins. Whatever it is, it's coming, Lucas thought, feeling the weight of the decision crushing down. They had come for answers, but now they were staring down the abyss of darkness waiting to claim them. Would they uncover the truth, or would they awaken something far beyond their understanding? Before them lay a choice as monstrous as the echoes of legend itself. The snarling grew louder, reverberating off the cave walls, a primal sound that clawed at their sanity. Lucas spun around, eyes wide, heart pounding in his chest. In the shadows, he caught glimpses of movement, something large, and it was coming fast. "We have to move," he shouted, yanking Mariah away from the pool that now glimmered ominously like a sinister eye. The allure faded, replaced by the stark reality of their immediate danger, but Mariah hesitated. "What if it's too late?" she said, fear dancing in her voice. "What if we miss our chance?" "Are you kidding?" Lucas urged, panic tightening his throat. He could feel the ground vibrating underfoot, the beast approaching like an inevitable storm. "We don't know what that thing can do." The cave rumbled again, a low growl from deep within its bowels, shaking the very core of their resolve. Shadows flickered, mingling with whispers that made the hair on the back of Lucas's neck stand stiff. Ahead, the pool reflected the chaos, shimmering with a disquieting allure. He risked a glance back, dark shapes writhing just out of sight, their snarls growing feral. They couldn't let curiosity claim them now, they had to choose. "Lucas!" Mariah pulled his arm, pointing to the guardian's golden object, still glinting on the cave floor. "What if we place it in the water? It could help us." Her eyes glinted with a desperate hope, but fear nipped at her words. The guardian disappeared for a reason. He yelled back, taking a step toward the threat. "This isn't about answers anymore, this is about surviving." But even as he spoke, doubt crept in. The treasure rested there, gleaming with promises of wisdom and power. What if it could unveil a path to safety? Their connection to the legends would remain incomplete without it. One choice, Lucas thought, the weight of their future resting like a boulder in his gut. The snarling drew nearer, punctuated by slamming claws against stone, sending vibrations through the earth. Time was running out, the space around them feeling like a coiling snake ready to strike. "Let's use it," Mariah urged, stepping closer to the mesmerizing pool despite Lucas's protest. Her instincts battled against his fears. "If that guardian can help us confront whatever that is, we need that golden heart." The pool's surface rippled as if sensing her words, beckoning with a sinister pull. The golden object glowed brighter, whispering of what lay beneath its surface. "Mariah, no!" Lucas hissed, stretching out his arm to pull her back, but her feet were already moving, entranced by the light. "Just for a moment," she said, on the brink of decision. Her fingers hovered over the golden heart, glistening just out of reach. What if a sudden crash echoed through the cave, like thunder, and a monstrous creature lunged forward out of the darkness? Fur matted and teeth bared, eyes burning with an otherworldly glow. Lucas lunged, grabbing Mariah's waist just as the beast lunged in their direction, jaws snapping shut just inches from her. The growl turned to a roar, reverberating like a clap of thunder in their ears. In that instant, everything slowed. Lucas felt the adrenaline surge through him, fueling a visceral instinct to protect. "Get back!" He screamed, shoving Mariah backward as he stood firm, ready to face whatever nightmare awaited them, but in the chaos, the golden object slipped from the Guardian's path and fell, splashing into the pool. The air buzzed with an electrical charge, and for a brief moment, silence fell. Even the creature paused, mesmerized. Something began to stir beneath the surface of the water, swirling and glowing, as ancient secrets awakened. "Lucas, what's happening?" Mariah's voice trembled, the terror reflected in her wide eyes. And Lucas could feel it too. The very air thickened with foreboding magic. The cave began to quake anew, vibrating with a growing energy that reverberated through their bones. Shadows twisted and turned, and with every passing second, he saw unimaginable things emerging, consciousness awakening from a millennia-long slumber, and then came the voice again. Deep and resonant, echoing through the chamber, "The heart has been awakened, and so shall the truths long buried." What truth awaited them? Lucas's heart raced, the same weight of choice still pressing down on them. Whatever happened next, they were in deeper than they ever anticipated. The Guardian might have vanished, but the peril they faced felt all the more real. "Whatever this is, we need to be ready," Lucas said, bracing for an unknown confrontation. This was a battle for truth, reality, and their very existence. But as the waters shimmered, they could only wonder, were they prepared to confront what lay hidden in the depths? The ground quaked uncontrollably, a reckoning on the horizon, and as the tumult grew, a new sound emerged, a haunting chant rising again, louder, revealing the darkest secrets held captive in this cursed realm. What awaited them next? Would they harness the truth, or unleash a horror that could consume them whole? The cave pulsated as if it had a heartbeat of its own, each thump echoing through the darkness. Lucas fought against the overwhelming urge to flee, but felt rooted to the spot as he watched the pool bubble and churn. The surface shimmered, revealing distorted images, long-forgotten echoes swirling like wisps of smoke. "Lucas, we can't just stand here." Mariah's voice cut through the mounting tension, her urgency yanking him back to reality. The creature, still poised in the shadows, released another growl, fierce and menacing, its breath a foul mist that clawed at their senses. "Where do we go?" Lucas shouted, glancing back, panic gnawing at his insides. The snarling was louder now, and he could feel the ground beneath him tremble with the weight of imminent danger. "We can't outrun it." "Maybe we don't have to," she replied, her eyes locked on the water, entranced yet terrified. "If we can control whatever's awakened, we might stand a chance." The channel of energy extending from the pool seemed to hum in response to her words. Like a siren's call, it pulled at their essence, inviting them once more to engage with its depths. Lucas's chest tightened, something about the allure felt dangerously seductive. "Mariah, don't get lost in it," he shouted, desperation spilling into his tone. "We need a plan, not a gamble." But Mariah had already taken a step forward, her body almost vibrating with the pull of the ancient magic. "We have to bring back what was lost," she cried, her voice a mixture of fear and fierce determination. "It can help us fight." As he watched her, a gnawing agony gripped Lucas. The darker part of him, the one that thrived on the thrill of the unknown, whispered a seductive promise. What if the Guardian really could help? What if the truths of the past could empower them against the beast threatening their lives? He shook his head to clear it, forcing himself to focus. "Fine. Let us." Just before he could finish, the pool erupted. A wave of water surged upward, twisting and turning as if it were alive. A colossal shadow began to materialize within it, coalescing from droplets into a form that would linger in their nightmares, a shimmering, translucent figure of an ancient guardian, its eyes glowing with unfathomable knowledge. The creature, sensing the emergence of this new reality, lunged forward. Fur bristling and teeth flashing, a primal roar echoed through the cave, jolting the guardian into action. "No!" Lucas shouted, taking a step back, his instincts screaming as he felt the massive presence of the beast encroaching upon them, but Mariah's voice broke through once more. "We have to trust it." She was resolute now, stepping toward the iridescent figure that radiated power and wisdom. As she received the energy pulsating from the pool, the cave transformed. Stone walls projected images of long-dormant battles that echoed across epochs and realms. Warrior spirits charged forth, their cries reverberating like distant thunder. Lucas could feel it in his bones, the weight of history bearing down on them. "Stand with me!" Mariah yelled, eyes bright with frantic resolve, but Lucas hesitated. "What if it turns on us?" He shouted back over the noise, sweat trickling down his spine. "What if we're unleashing something we can't control?" But Mariah's gaze was fierce, emboldened by the emerging guardian. "We have to take that risk. We let our fear dictate our actions for too long." The beast lunged again, monstrous jaws snapping, a whirlwind of chaos against the backdrop of the awakening energies. A blinding light burst forth from the pool, illuminating everything, pushing back the darkness. This wasn't just about them anymore. This was an awakening of truths long hidden, a battle for survival, one that would determine the fate of everything they held dear. Lucas felt the weight of his choice growing heavier. In that moment of suspended reality, he glimpsed the path laid bare before him, a deadly game with ancient forces. Could they harness the Guardian's power, or would they become pawns in a game older than time itself? But then, the chanting returned, louder, a symphony of forbidden knowledge weaving around them, entwining them in its promise of truth and power. "Take my hand!" Mariah shouted, her urgency pulling him from his doubt. As he reached for her, a piercing roar split through the air, and the Guardian shifted, its form becoming more defined, aimed directly at the beast barreling toward them. An unseen force seemed to swirl around them, and for a heartbeat, they were suspended in time, caught between the past and the present, truth and horror, as the cave erupted into a chaotic battle of light and darkness. But was it truly an awakening or just the beginning of their worst nightmare? And as the Guardian's power surged to meet the beast, Lucas's heart pounded in his chest, the weight of uncertainty hanging over them like a blade ready to drop. Who would emerge victorious from the clash of legends and monsters? The chaos roared around them, and Lucas felt a surge of panic as the enormous beast collided with the ancient Guardian. The ground shook, sending rattling vibrations through his legs while a deafening crack split the air. Mariah stood her ground, eyes locked on the divine entity now fully formed, a bright pillar in the darkness. "Focus!" she yelled, fighting to be heard above the din. "We can't let it go alone." But the reality was hitting Lucas hard. They were facing an ancient power awakened within a cave that seemed to breathe terror. A deep rumble grew as the two forces clashed, a cacophony of growls and sacred cries sweeping through the air like a storm. "Mariah!" Lucas shouted, barely able to see her through the swirl of light and shadow. "Remember what's at stake. This isn't just about control. This is life and death." His chest tightened, helpless as he saw the Guardian falter under the beast's attack. The brilliance of the Guardian flickered, just for a moment, and fear clawed at Lucas's insides. Could they lose everything in that instant? "Fight, Guardian! Fight for us!" Mariah's voice rang out into the fray, fierce and intent, grounding Lucas with her determination. Summoning courage, Lucas clenched his fists. "I'm with you!" he cried, pushing through the panic, surrendering to the instinct to protect Mariah and himself. The cave's heartbeat started to synchronize with the battle, each thump sending shivers through him. He could now see the Guardian's brilliance struggling against the dark shape of the beast, behind which lay the abyss of shadow, depths that threatened to consume them. With every pulse, he felt the energy around them shift, the air tinged with a dark electric charge. It begged him to join Mariah, to fight alongside this luminous Guardian. "What if it consumes us?" He didn't mean to voice his doubts, but the words escaped before he could stop them. "We have to trust it," she shouted back defiantly, the fire in her eyes unwavering even as the battle raged. "It knows more than we do." Something inside Lucas ignited at her words. Perhaps that was the truth they needed, to find strength even in uncertainty. The Guardian glimmered, and within that light was an invitation, a promise of something greater than himself. "Let us do this!" he shouted, a battle cry bellowing from his throat. He reached for Mariah, their hands colliding as they became two halves of a whole. The Guardian surged forward, radiant energy erupting into a blinding shield. Lucas felt the surge echo through him as the bonds of fear tightened and snapped. The sanctuary of light encircled them both, but even as the guardian fortified, the beast roared, a hellish sound that clawed at their sanity. It lunged again, fury pouring from its being, striking at the barrier of light like lightning against metal. With a sudden, shocking impact, the cave erupted in a wave of energy that sent Lucas tumbling. He felt the world spinning, air knocked from his lungs as darkness threatened to swallow him whole. But through that void, Mariah's voice pierced the silence. Lucas. He fought against the heavy weight pulling him under, cutting through the blackness to find her. He had to protect her. They were in this together. As he clawed his way back, sparks of light erupted around him, the Guardian's power surging in response to the chaos. The images on the cave walls twisted into fierce battles, tableaux vivants of despair and hope. With newfound resolve, he surged upright. What they had awakened couldn't be controlled. It had to be embraced. Are you with me? He shouted, battling the pulling darkness. But before Mariah could answer, the ground quaked violently again, throwing them back. The Guardian let out a brilliant flash of energy, and the cave pulsed like a dying star. In a heartbeat, Lucas felt an intense connection, a tie to the energies swirling around him, a glimpse into the past. But he also felt the beast's fury intensifying, and he knew something had changed. Mariah, it's growing stronger. The realization clawed at him, raw and urgent, and through flashes of light and shadow, Lucas discovered the ultimate truth. They weren't just fighting to survive, they were on the brink of unveiling secrets that had remained buried for countless generations, but what waited beyond that veil of knowledge was an answer they might not be ready to face. As the Guardian charged towards the beast once more, Lucas steadied himself, heart racing. Who would come out alive in this cosmic struggle? And what forbidden truths would they uncover along the way? The ground trembled as the Guardian and the beast clashed again, a blinding flash illuminating the cave walls with a ghastly glow. Lucas felt the surge of energy pulse through him like 1,000 lightning bolts striking a tree. With each groan of the cave, a flicker of panic washed over him. How long could this stalemate last? Lucas. Mariah's voice broke through the chaos, clearer now. She was back on her feet, determination etched across her face despite the swirling shadows around them. We have to push through the barrier. We can't let it weaken. He drew in a shaky breath, the weight of the cave pressing against him like a dense fog. But what if the Guardian falters? We can't let ourselves stop, she commanded, a fierceness in her tone that sent shivers down his spine. We aren't just facing it for our lives. We're part of this. Whatever comes next, we'll face it together. Her words were like a lifeline, pulling him from the depths of his doubt. Together. That simple word sparked a glimmer of hope within the shadows that threatened to swallow them both. Lucas took a steadying breath, filling his lungs with the very energy of the Guardian that flickered in the vague light. With a shared look, they both clutched their hands tighter, feeling a surge of warmth spread from their connected palms. The Guardian seemed to notice, as if their bond had rekindled its strength. It surged forward again, emitting radiant light that pushed back the beast's menacing form. Yet, the darkness pressed back with equal ferocity, a malevolent force determined to consume their flickering flame. Go. Now. Mariah shouted, her voice cutting through the tumult. They charged together, the light intensifying around them. Lucas felt an explosion of spirit as if the Guardian's essence flowed through his veins, knitting together a defense born of resilience. As they bolted towards the beast, time seemed to stretch, every heartbeat echoing against the cave's walls, but then, something twisted. A dark presence rose from beneath them, tendrils of shadow grasping at their feet like frantic hands. Lucas stumbled, throwing an arm out to steady Mariah, but their connection cracked under the stress. Lucas, listen to me. Mariah's eyes were fierce, terrified but undaunted. I can sense it, they're connected, the Guardian and the beast. We can use that. They're connected how? He asked, his voice tinged with terror. What if they were linked in a way that would bring about their demise? I think the beast is trying to reclaim what was lost. Her words flowed like an incantation, pulling him into a deeper understanding. It needs the guardian to exist. No, Lucas whispered, a dreadful realization creeping in. If the guardian falls, the beast will consume everything. Then we reinforce the guardian. We must empower it, Mariah insisted, eyes alight with purpose. Together, they stepped forward again, pushing through the darkness that threatened to envelop them. The guardian flickered victoriously, but it was clear its brilliance was waning. Before Lucas could voice his fears, there was a sudden silence, a haunting stillness that gripped his heart. Every heartbeat echoed unnaturally in the absence of sound, then a roar ripped through the tranquility. The beast, more ferocious and desperate than before, lunged directly at them. "Hold on!" Lucas yelled, catching Mariah's hand just as the force of the darkness crashed into their combined light. The explosion sent shockwaves outwards, lighting up the cave with blinding energy and horrifying screams. Lucas felt himself lifted off his feet and thrown against the jagged stone walls. The world spun before his eyes, blurring the lines between reality and a waking nightmare. As the dust settled, Lucas gasped for air. He was alive. But the void that surrounded them felt different now. "Mariah!" he shouted, panic punctuating his voice. But where was she? The shadows around him twisted, forming a chilling silhouette. It was the beast, looming over him, eyes burning with seething hunger. "Lucas!" Mariah's voice rang from deeper in the cave. "I'm here. You have to stand." With one wave of energy, Lucas felt the guardian surge back to life, but the connection had frayed. What lay before him wasn't just a struggle for survival, it was a revelation of cosmic proportions. "Lucas!" Mariah screamed again, pulling him from his daze. "You have to believe. Tap into the power within the truth." But he still didn't understand. The knowledge writhing in the shadows threatened to unravel their very minds. What truth awaited them, and was it one they would wish to uncover? With a deep breath, Lucas made a choice. He drew upon every ounce of strength, ready to unveil the intertwining secrets before them. And as he prepared to charge once more, a question burned within him: what horrifying truths were waiting to erupt from the abyss? The cave pulsed with an unseen force, oscillating between desperation and raw power. Lucas hardly recognized the landscape around him, shadows twisting like serpents, their whispers merging with the cacophony of chaos. Time slowed down, his heart thudding loudly in his ears, drowning out reason. "Focus on the connection, Lucas." Mariah's voice cut through the haze, fierce yet urgent. Her words ignited a spark in him. This was their fight, their moment. He squeezed her hand tighter, feeling the warmth radiate between them, pushing against the encroaching darkness. "What if we can't hold it back?" he replied, his voice trembling with fear. "Then we make the guardian stronger," she insisted. "It needs us to survive." In that instant, the beast lunged again, teeth bared and ferocious. It clawed at the air, venom dripping from its fangs, ready to strike. Lucas's instincts kicked in. He took a step forward, determination washing over him as he joined Mariah in weaving their energy into the guardian. Together, they summoned the light, an incandescent ribbon that surged into the guardian, revitalizing its form. It became a brilliant beacon amid the choking shadows, illuminating the cavern with a fierce glow. The beast hissed in rejection, momentarily taken aback by the sudden brilliance. "Now!" Mariah shouted. They surged forward, pouring everything they had into the conflict. The guardian responded, expanding in shape and intensity, a colossal force pushing against the beast. Yet, even as the light pressed forward, Lucas felt an unsettling twist in his gut. What if this light was merely a temporary reprieve? Desperate words of doubt flashed in his mind, filling him with a paralyzing fear. But then, as if sensing his hesitation, Mariah turned to him, determination reigniting her gaze. "Lucas, we need to accept the truth that lies beneath," she urged. "Only then can we truly contain the beast." The beast roared again, rage echoing off the walls, sending shockwaves through the ground. The sounds felt tangible against Lucas's skin, vibrating through the dense air as darkness enveloped him once more. "Do you trust me?" Mariah asked, her voice steady despite the chaos. "Yes," he shouted instinctively. "Then grasp what is within you. The truth, find it." As Mariah's words washed over him, something strange began to unfurl within Lucas's mind. Images flashed, memories of whispers from the labyrinth of shadows, hints of a connection that traversed beyond mere existence. He was part of this battle, it pulsed through his veins. Energy condensed into a spark, igniting his determination anew. He glanced over at the Guardian, shimmering with renewed life but faltering. The beast charged again, claws outstretched. A guttural growl escaped its maw as it launched towards them with earth-shaking force. "Stand firm!" Mariah cried, raising their hands in unison, drawing upon the energy they had forged. The cave shook violently, rocks falling from the ceiling as light exploded outward, a torrent of hope against despair. A blinding flash enveloped them. Lucas felt that connection surged stronger than before, flowing through him like an endless river, threading into the very fabric of the Guardian. He could see visions now, a glimpse of the past, of battles fought, of suffering endured. Each heartbeat resonated with older memories, moments etched deep into time that transcended even his understanding. But then he felt it, a terrible weight, a truth buried within the shadows. It clawed at his consciousness, trying to break through. The whispers grew loud, become roars that rattled the core of his being. "Lucas! What is happening?" Mariah shouted, sensing the shift in his energy. I see it. The truth. But it's dark. It wants to consume everything." He gasped, panic rising. Before he could articulate his thoughts, a surge of energy erupted, momentarily deafening him. The shadows recoiled, thrashing as the glowing form of the Guardian struggled against the darkness. "Lucas, we need to stand together. Focus on your heart." Mariah yelled, the light flickering perilously around them. In that instant, clarity struck him. The truth was the source of their strength, yet it was also their greatest nightmare. If he embraced it, could it save them, or would it shatter their very souls? Suddenly, the weight of the shadows crashed down on him, pressing harder, formed of horror and twisted echoes of the past. What lay beneath the surface? With Mariah by his side, he prepared to peel back the layers, even at the cost of his own sanity. "Let us reveal the darkness," he declared, his breath caught in his throat. But as they dove deeper into the uncharted truth, a chilling thought gripped him: would they emerge whole, or would they be irreparably changed? As the shadows pressed down, Lucas felt as if the weight of his very soul was being squeezed by unseen fingers. Mariah's grip tightened, her face strain etched by the singular focus of their mission. The darkness roared, a cacophony of anguished voices mingling with the growls of the beast that prowled just moments away from them. "Keep your head clear," she urged. "We have to visualize our intention. Remember who we are." He inhaled deeply, centering on the radiant light that flickered precariously around the Guardian. In that moment, an ancient surge of power coursed through him, intertwining with Mariah's own steady resolve. They were a unit, a force of nature standing against a primal terror. The cave shook violently as the beast lunged again, its monstrous visage twisted with rage. Lucas felt their connection deepen, the light expanding with raw energy. "Focus!" he yelled, the sound of his own voice almost lost amidst the chaos. Then, in a flash, images flooded his mind. Friends and family, the laughter of past joys now marred by the weight of the darkness, memories that both anchored him and terrified him. There it was, lurking in the recesses, a heavy truth that tugged at the edges of his consciousness. "It's calling to us," he murmured, half to himself. "It wants us to give in." Mariah shot back, her eyes locked onto his, fierce and bright. "Don't fall for it." The realization struck harder than any blow. The beast represented everything that had haunted them: fears, failures, regrets. It was a graveyard of their pasts, and the shadowy truth they had to face was buried within those memories. Then we won't just fight it, we'll confront it. Lucas shouted, the words bursting forth with renewed conviction. We dig deep. Mariah replied, her voice unwavering even as the shadows danced around them, swirling as if alive. They turned together toward the heart of the cavern, hands raised in unison, summoning all the light they could muster. The cave walls pulsated, a rhythm of darkness and light mirroring the tumultuous battle within them. Lucas felt his heart hammering faster, each pulse synchronizing with the Guardian's burgeoning strength. Suddenly, an explosion of dark energy cracked through the air, the beast roaring with all its fury. The ground beneath them quaked, and stone shards fell like rain. Lucas staggered, but Mariah steadied him, her eyes ablaze with purpose. Trust in the truth, she reminded him, her voice cutting through the noise. Lucas focused on that truth, dredging it up like a long-buried relic. He saw the faces of everyone he had ever lost, each one a reminder of the stakes they faced. What if the truth they sought was more invasive than they had imagined? Would it unravel them or build them anew? In a surge of collective resolve, they summoned the deepest parts of themselves, intertwining their memories with each heartbeat, forging a bridge of understanding. The Guardian flared, shimmering brighter than ever, pushing back against the beast that reared before them, but just then, a chilling twist in the shadows caught Lucas's eye. The silhouette of another figure flitted beyond the veil of darkness. A flash of recognition jolted him to his core. Mariah. He gasped, heart racing. Did you see that? What? Where? Her gaze darted around, searching for the source. There. In the shadows. But as she looked, the figure melted back into the dark, leaving only a flicker of uncertainty. Who was that? Lucas whispered, dread pooling in his gut. Whoever it is, we have to stay focused. She cried, but doubt flickered in her eyes. As the beast prepared to strike, dimensions of the cave warped, the air thick with tension. Time hung heavy, each second stretching out like an eternity. Would they really confront their past, or would the truth reveal something far more sinister? Stay strong, he urged, but as he prepared for the fight of their lives, dread hung between them like a stone. Would they overcome the darkness within, or would they awaken a deeper horror? The roar of the beast echoed around them, and Lucas braced himself, ready to face whatever lay hidden beyond the shadows. No turning back. Whatever awaited them would change everything. What truth would surface next? And who or what had they yet to confront in the depths? The cave roared with energy, the clash between the Guardian and the beast intensifying into a chaotic symphony. Lucas felt the ground quake beneath him, resonating with his very soul. Memories flooded him, flickers of joy, nightmares birthed from darkness. And there, mingling among them, was a truth wrapped in shadows, begging to be revealed. Keep pushing. Mariah shouted, leaning on their connection, her trust anchoring him like a lighthouse in a storm. Lucas squeezed her hand tighter. They were woven together, a tapestry of light braving the sinister shadows. The beast lunged again, jaws gaping, its growl reverberating through the cave. Lucas sensed the weight of the ancient creature, a monstrous embodiment of all the fears they had buried. The Guardian shimmered, just one flickering heartbeat away from collapse. It needs us. Lucas shouted, desperate. The darkness roared back, talons stretched and ready to tear apart their resolve. This isn't just about survival, Mariah yelled, determination blazing in her eyes. It's about confronting what we've been hiding from, the truth must be illuminated. They pressed forward, raising their intertwined hands as if to summon the essence of their shared strength. In that moment, Lucas could feel it, the energy swirling, aligning with their heartbeat, drawing power from every regret and triumph they had ever experienced. Then, the figure materialized again, brief yet hauntingly familiar. That shadow, who was it? Lucas's heart thundered, clawing at his mind. As if answering his unspoken thought, the figure re-emerged, a kaleidoscope of blurring memories. Moses? He breathed, recognizing a voice echoing in the depths of his thoughts. The shadow flickered away, leaving him wrestling with the inexplicable. Focus. Mariah's urgency pulled him out of his reverie. But he understood now. The truth, shrouded in the myth of Moses, was tied to their future. As the walls of the cave trembled with mounting anticipation, he realized, it wasn't just a battle against a beast. It was an exploration of their own spirits, and so, they surged, hearts alight, the guardian rising with renewed fervor. Together, they sent a pulse of defiance crashing against the beast. Light emanated from their joined essence, fierce and relentless. Each crack of thunder announced the awakening of their shared resolve, a glorious eruption of brilliance that flung back the shadows, even as the beast roared in furious rebuttal. The guardian gleamed like the sun, standing tall against the tempest of despair and dread. Suddenly, Lucas felt that weight lift, a bright illumination bursting from within them. The clarity of purpose was electrifying. They wouldn't back down. They had come seeking truth, and the past must be confronted, its knowledge woven into the very fabric of their beings. This is our moment. Lucas shouted, his voice piercing the chaos. The chant of ancient voices swelled, mingling with the echoes of their resolve. Energy throbbed through them, unveiling their readiness to fight side by side. They would no longer be scared. In that charged space of anticipation, the Guardian's countenance shimmered, urging them onward. The beast, in all its rampaging fury, lunged one final time. It was then that Lucas understood they were the architects of their fate, armed with the testament of legacy against the burdens once carried. Together. They cried, hearts unified as one, as they dove into the depths of the truth waiting to be uncovered. With a blinding flash, the tension exploded, light refracted through the chaos, cascading like a waterfall onto the beast. All it knew, every fear it would weaponize, unraveling before them in an unending cascade of brilliance. In that moment of clash, Lucas felt time slow, the echo of the Guardian's strength melding with their collective spirit. The truth surged like a tidal wave, and together they embraced it, grappling with the shadows etched deep within the rock. The beast faltered, staggering, then stunned into silence. This is who we are. Mariah roared, her voice commanding. No more running. And as they invoked the power forged through their connection, reality shifted. The cave, a living entity, breathed alongside them, the ancient them shifting, bending to the will of their courage. One final, resounding roar pierced the air as the darkness subsided. A crystal-clear realization echoed through the cavern. They stood together, bound by heart and purpose, a privileged few who unveiled the truths long kept in shadows. Will you let your fear govern you or become your strength? The words hung in the air, a challenge demanding respect. And as silence enveloped the cave, Lucas and Mariah stepped into the light. What awaited them on the other side would be a world reborn, a reminder that shadows could only exist in the absence of light. In that moment, they understood, knowing the darkness meant they could finally emerge into the light. As the dust settled softly around them, they felt alive. It was done. The Guardian shimmered, a glistening promise that even the darkest truths could guide them through. Together, they would shape their path. And somewhere, deep in the recesses of the desert, the legends continued, weaving new stories born of undying hope. Now it was time to share this in a brand new way. Don't wait another second. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this unbelievable ending. And instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. This is the moment to show your support. Don't let these powerful stories slip away.